Welcome to environmental justice and you. So you're wondering what environmental justice is, huh? Here on planet Earth, environments are a pretty important thing. They surround us. But lately, an insidious idea has crept into everyday life. Global warming. A pretty hot topic and a buzzword among political go-getters used to benefit certain industries and organizations financially. While it is true the Earth is warming, this current warming trend that occurs on our little blue marble is unrelated to human activities and is a natural part of all Earth's cycles. In fact, the planet has experienced warmer phases in the past without catastrophic consequences. Today's warming is nothing to worry about.
Hey. Sorry to interrupt your flow there.
Are you talking about climate change?
Yes, I was just telling the audience here all about global warming and the ways it's been blown out of proportion.
Well, not really, at all. Also, the term is climate change.
And not global warming, because it helps to emphasize that the issue is not just about temperature rise, but encompasses a range of environmental, social, and economic factors.
Now listen, young people.
It highlights the need to address broader impacts and the consequences of changing climate, including the disruptions of ecosystems, the threats to biodiversity, and the potential consequences for human societies.
Environmental justice is about making sure that everyone, no matter who they are or where they live, has equal access to a clean and healthy environment.
And why it's important? Because the environments that we move through every day, our homes, schools, workplaces, parks, are specifically designed to benefit some at the expense of others. According to our race, gender, immigration status, and class.
Fringe scientists manipulate and cherry-pick that data to suit their agendas. This
global warming agenda is predicting a financial benefits to certain industries and organizations. In fact, one phrase of environmental justice carbon
Hi, couldn't help but overhear. Are you talking about climate change?
I was just trying to tell this disembodied voice that environmental justice...
Why, yes. I was just educating these two young people here all about global warming.
Okay, yep, got it. It sounds like you might have some alternative information. The truth is, climate change affects everything, from general weather and natural disasters to jobs in the economy. Environmental justice focuses on naming how unfairly certain groups of people are impacted by it. For example, when natural disasters occur, things like fires and floods, these communities are the first to feel the effects. Relief efforts focus on wealthier neighborhoods, while poorly built and maintained infrastructure means that low-income communities are left with the most damage, and for the longest, since recovery efforts are rarely directed their way. Instead, greedy companies are free to capitalize on their misery, snapping up homes and land that they cannot afford to rebuild.
So, how do we see this in our daily lives? Take Long Beach, for example. Air quality in Long Beach, California is ranked among the worst in the nation, but affluent neighborhoods are buffered from polluted air and water because refineries, freeways, the incinerator, and rail yards, among other polluting entities, are all located in working-class communities of color.
What would we do without things like factories and freeways? The corporations that build and operate these are the lifeblood of our economy. In fact, it's up to the consumer to start taking more responsibility for their so-called carbon footprints, doing things like buying electric vehicles.
Hey, we understand that things like factories and freeways are important, but historically, they've been built at the cost of BIPOC communities' health and wealth. High-polluting factories are often built in neighborhoods that have been systematically redlined into poverty. Entire POC neighborhoods being torn down to build freeways. And while things like electric cars are helpful, the monetary cost is often out of reach for underserved communities. Do you see charging stations anywhere in your poor neighborhoods? The fact that all these things that cause pollution systematically happen in underserved communities and in communities of color points to the bigger point of environmental justice. In Eastern Coachella Valley, as in many cities across the nation, public funding is used to update and beautify areas that are already highly resourced and well maintained. In this case, places like Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival, while other areas are left without paved roads, electricity, broadband, and other basic necessities and services. Not to mention that the drying of the Salton Sea is considered to be one of the worst environmental disasters. As the water dries up, copper, arsenic, selenium, and DDT, a toxic insecticide left over from generations of farming, become exposed and folks breathe them in.
But hasn't the Coachella Festival brought tons of money and popularity to the valley?
Well, it might help others know where Coachella is on a map, but the festival itself hasn't really done anything to improve the lives of its residents or raise any awareness of the environmental injustices they face because tourists rarely see that side of the BCV. According to a 2023 report by thecooldown.com, Coachella Fest relies on hundreds of thousands of gallons of diesel fuel for generators and generates 214,000 pounds of waste each festival day, a fifth of which is recycled, leaving the rest in landfills. On the south side of Fresno, parks and playgrounds for youth to gather and play are few, and grocery stores are scarce, while liquor and convenience stores abound.
Every day, our natural areas are being wiped off the map, along with millions of species of animals. The collapse of our climate and life-giving natural systems has already begun. In the poorest communities throughout the world and future generations will feel the effects first and hardest.
That all makes sense. Is there a future where this is different?
Yes, it means turning away from capitalist models of endless growth and putting people and the planet over profits. Land use is centered around community needs. Policies, created and designed by those most impacted, invest in projects that meet community needs and enhance our built environments. Public spaces facilitate connection and creativity, like collaborative murals and gardens where community members can grow their food.
We want to live in a world where natural and built environments support all life forms to flourish. In this world, human beings have an access to deep relationships with and overwhelming gratitude for the earth in all of its splendor. And our communities are designed to nurture our well-being and our dreams. A massive reimagining of land use, rights, and ownership is in order. Most of us in the United States today live on land stolen from indigenous people, and we support efforts to return this land to its original inhabitants.
Our communities are resilient. We can look to them for models of mutual aid and collective care and uplift and expand the systems that they have always practiced.
Well, folks, there you have it.
Enough with your dang logo already!